from Hollywood and the four corners of the world. You asked for it. Starring Rich Little. Here's the star of You Asked For It, Rich Little.
Thank you, and welcome to the only show on television that goes anywhere in the world just because you asked for it. Tonight, a man who holds 1,000,000 volts of lightning in his hands. The strangest salesman in the world. England's 1,000-year-old boat for thieves, and much more. But first, one man on a motorcycle out to leap a record number of cars. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. Daredevil Ernie Adams. He's out to become the #1 motorcycle jumper in the world. Jack Smith describes his death-defying record attempt from Shelbyville, Tennessee. And Chris Irvin of Jonesboro, Georgia, you asked for it.
Shelbyville is known for 2 things: Tennessee walking horses and Ernie Adams, motorcycle daredevil. Today, exclusively for You Asked For It, Ernie is going to show us his unusual stamina by leaping over 16, then 18, and then finally 20 cars. Now, no other jumper in the world has ever made it over 54 cars in one day. It takes extraordinary strength and courage. Every jump has to be a perfect stepping stone toward the World Championship, a title Ernie thinks he's ready for now.
The most nervous part of it is when I'm building up right before it. I'm sitting dead still. I'm trying to get all of it together. I'm looking at it, make sure everything's lined up. I take off. I try to leave scared behind.
He's off, and safely over 16 cars. Now he'll add 2 more to the line. For every car they add, Ernie has to go an extra 2 miles an hour to clear the jump. You don't even feel a difference that slight in your car, but when you're flying through the air 15 feet off the ground, every extra bit of speed makes the bike that much harder to control. And he's ready for his try at 18 cars. Earlier this year, Ernie had a brutal crash on a jump. He says that once you wreck, you never lose the memory of going down at 70 miles per hour. Every time he approaches the ramp for a jump, he sees that crash over again in his mind. Ernie's very lucky. He hit the ramp so hard he actually busted a hole through the wood. This easily could have caused a very serious accident. While the ramp is being repaired and 2 more cars are being added, Ernie breaks the tension of waiting by doing a few wheelies on his bike. At last, everything's fixed and Ernie is ready to go. This 20-car jump is over 130 feet. Well, there he goes. He's up, sailing through the air, and another safe landing.
Once again now, that fantastic jump in slow motion, because you asked for it.
This is Foster Brooks. I don't see what was so brilliant about that motorcycle ride. I got higher than that last New Year's, and my feet were nailed to the floor. Say, don't go away. You're in for a charge when you see the human lightning rod coming up next.
And now back to Rich Little.
Most artists use a brush to do their painting, but Dave Archer uses 1,000,000 volts of lightning to create his astonishing work of art. And you'll understand what we mean when our reporter, Desiree Goyette, visits Dave's studio in Novato, California. Because Brad Dill of Hermitage, Pennsylvania, you asked for it.
In the beginning of the world, it must have been like this. Clouds of heavy gases shot through with bolts of lightning, universes forming out of the mist. No, this is no ancient god creating a universe. This is artist Dave Archer, a pioneer in what has to be one of the most unusual art techniques in the world today. He's painting with what he calls a lightning brush. A lightning brush is just what it sounds like, a brush or rod that spits lightning or electricity. Painting with 1,000,000 volts of electricity could cause an artist to burn out at an early age. So, for safety reasons, the brush has to be 8 feet long. This is a Tesla coil, and it can generate 1,000,000 volts of electricity off just a regular house current. This electricity is then funneled through the lightning brush, and what comes out the other end is pure genius. To start the process, a piece of glass is placed on top of the Tesla coil. Then, acrylic paint is applied to the flat surface of the glass. And then, this pattern, created by the electricity, is known as Lichtenberg fire, and this is the pattern lightning burns in the grass around an object it has just struck. Occasionally, Dave burns a little alcohol on the surface to break up an area of paint. The patterned paint is then placed under heat lamps to dry. After he's looked at it for a while, Dave will get an idea of what he wants to add from there, and the rest of the work is done by hand. That's where the genius part comes in. The reverse painting on glass that Dave does is one of the oldest and least known techniques of painting. It's been a European folk art for hundreds of years, and only recently has enjoyed a revival in America. All the painting is done inside out and backwards, layer upon layer. If Dave makes a mistake, he can't go back and change it. So each work requires perfect planning and total concentration.
To me, it's an oriental way of painting. You contemplate and then you make your statement, you make your move, and that's it.
The finished paintings sell for between $500 and $4,800. But Dave Archer, with his space-age techniques, has not only revived the art, he's carried it a step further. And people like Dr. Werner von Braun, Mark Hamill, Howard Hessman, and Hoyt Axton, among many others who've purchased his works, seem to agree. You feel as though you're peering into the future through a warp in time.
What I'm trying to do in my work is draw light out of the darkness and then have that light lifting. The paintings that you see of mine do not represent particular planets or star systems. It's as much inner space as it is outer space.
Dave's artwork is really unique. But this looks vaguely familiar. Well, you asked for it.
Oh, this is Boris Karloff. You know, when I played Frankenstein, my master used exactly the same technique in making me a monster. Oh, it was very effective. The only problem was the electric bill was $80,000 a month. That's not fair. I think he charged me too much.
We've had some strange people in our show, like yours truly, but none quite as startling or memorable as the traveling salesman who appeared before our cameras back in the 50s. To tell you more about him, here is Jack Smith.
Thanks, Rich. Leslie Taylor was an insurance salesman who never sent anyone a calendar or an inscribed fountain pen, much too ordinary for a man of his style and talent. Now, Leslie drummed up business for himself in his birthplace, England, by more attention-grabbing means. During the year, he staged performances in which he billed himself as Tijuana, the painless marvel. Now, we're not sure how much insurance he sells that way, but we are certain that his act is one you'll not soon forget or try to imitate.
A wheel of torches, and it spins. Each flaming spoke a dainty mouthful for Tijuana. Just 4 more to round out the meal. And here a bottle of ordinary breakable glass. He taps it so we'll be sure. Wrapped in cloth for safety. Broken into jagged pieces, razor sharp. The camera holds on this scene all the way, so there'll be no mistaking what happens. He bills himself as the painless marvel, and he's ready to prove it with bare feet. In a moment, his full weight on a pile of shattered glass. This is gonna hurt us more than it does him. All the stunts of a fakir, but this is no fake. We see everything. He actually stomps on the glass. Same pile of broken glass. He's not through with it. He stands on glass, and he lies down on it. Now, this is what you call scratching your back the hard way. Next, the blade of an axe, sharp enough to slice paper. Nape of neck to the blade, and notice the high muscular tension. But there's more weight to come. Anybody for life insurance? More than 100 pounds. The axe right where it hurts the most. Now, if there's any doubt about what happened, here's the answer. The mark of the blade, deep in the neck. Concentration, says Tijuana, blots out the pain, but he doesn't advise others to try it. And let me advise you never to try what you're about to see now. A board of knives. Look them over. A few taps to prove they're of metal. Knife blades to the chest and stomach. And see what goes on top. Music, maestro, please. England, the world's strangest traveling salesman.
You know, I gotta tell you, that man was really astounding. But did he really sell insurance?
Oh, Rich, did he? You could put broken glass on your walk, you could throw fire at him, nothing would keep him from your door.
Sounds like the IRS. Coming up next, a 1,000-year-old boat for thieves being kept alive by one man. We'll be back.
And now back to Rich Little.
This is Rod Serling. From the bottom of the ocean to the farthest reaches of outer space, U.S. Ford is ready to go anywhere in the world to answer your requests. Challenge us. Just write to U.S. for it P.O. Box 1980, Hollywood, California, 90028. In the England of old, hungry peasants risked long prison terms to feed their families by stealing game from the king's private hunting grounds. In spite of the king's threats, they dared to enter his preserve using something that was specially designed for their purpose. It was called a coracle. Now, to find out just what a coracle is and why it is still being kept alive by one man, we sent our reporter, Margaret Davies, to Ironbridge, England. Jerry Catarius of Harleysville, Pennsylvania, you asked for it.
Rich, we're on the banks of the Severn River in Ironbridge, England, and this is a coracle. The coracle has no hull, can be steered by oar or with your hand, weighs about 33 pounds, and glides silently through the water. This made it ideal years ago for poachers who had to hunt and run. Today, the coracle might be completely forgotten if it wasn't for the coracle man. Eustace Rogers is a descendant of a family which has been making coracles for 250 years, and he is intent on keeping this ancient craft alive. He makes modern versions of the boats for $100 in 2 weeks and uses wooden lathe covered with calico and waterproofed with pitch. Today, however, exclusively for You Asked For It, he will make the olden day coracle exactly as it was made 1,000 years ago. It was this kind of coracle used 60 years ago by his grandfather, who was a poacher. The olden day coracle weighed 45 pounds and is made by bending branches into a frame. Thinner green branches are then woven in between. This supports its turtle-like shape. The finished frame is then covered with a single cow's hide, which has been soaking for 1 week to make it pliable.
With some help, I get this hide out of this bath of water, drape it on the frame loosely because it shrinks tremendous. And with being loose on the frame, it can shrink without distorting the frame. Now, while this shrinking is taking place, I've been and acquired some horses' tails from wherever I can, and then I'm making a horse rope. So then I make it secure on the frame with my horse rope.
Push me off.
Push you off. Are you ready? Don't panic. You're all right now. Turn it around.
I love it. The poaching days are over, and coracles nowadays are used strictly for fun and games. Why, thank you. They're uniquely designed, inexpensive, and light enough for almost anyone to carry. Thank you, Eustace Rogers.
Thank you.
For keeping the craft of coracle making alive. And thank you, Jerry Catarius, because you asked for it.
This is Robert Morley. By George, sir, when I was in England, a friend of mine made me a wide-bodied coracle. It was marvelous for sunbathing, and of course, I used it as a bikini.
Rich will be back in a minute with more of You Asked For It. And now back to Rich Little.
You know, it's amazing how you can spot a great talent in a few lines from a letter. And this man is certainly no exception. From Mark Guzik of Marionville, Pennsylvania. And he writes, Dear Mr. Little, I want to buy a motorcycle, and all I need is $500. Now, if you loan me $1,000, I'll give you $500, and I'll keep $500, and then we'll be even. What do you say? Here's what we wrote back. Dear Mark, you will go a long way in this world. you will go one of two places, to jail or to Hollywood to become an agent. Anyway, that's our show for tonight. See you next time on... Good night, everybody.
This is John Harlan speaking. You Asked For It is a Sandy Frank production.